You will see here that Gemini and a lot of the other LLMs as well, they've provided the ability to define your experts. So to take one of these general large language models and train them in a very specific topic, right? So here you'll see I have two of them that I had tried before. One was making them an expert in the gamification of my work, which is Steam Gym, and the other one, the more corporate-based, glad customer, mindset-driven governance model. So you'll see in how you define these gems, you can provide them a lot of information. You can tell them what are they being made an expert on. Is it summaries or is it coding? There's different versions that you can create. So all of these are great. If you've experimented with any of the code assists, I'm going to call it. I'm not going to use the term vibe coding, but the code assist that's available out there, you will see that you can start taking these agents, right? These expert agents that you've created, well, more so the gems, and link them within your apps that you're building. So if you're building a web page and it has a chat module, like a chat bubble, that chat can now be an expert in whatever you have defined here. I'll say now, that portion of the integration is where the tooling or these large language models, they're not quite there yet. It's very easy to create an expert agent. It is very easy to create a website and include an agent within that website. It's not as easy to take your expert agent and incorporate it into that website. So this video will kind of halt there in terms of just creating these expert agents. And, I will continue experimenting and bring you information on how we can more easily, right, without being developers, coders, and expert scripters in Python or Node.js, which I will still encourage, learn those things, but we're not experts in it. So what this video is about, and I just stumbled upon it in the last week because I haven't seen it advertised too much. Right there within the Gemini settings, there is this option for NotebookLM. So I started to experiment a little bit into that space. You'll see here, again, using my Grow Yourself and the GTMU that I showed you I'd taken, I'd created that deck for to create the presentation. And so let me just go first into what I've created and show you a little bit of what it is. So there are three columns here, you'll see. One is the sources, which is very useful. This is almost like the gem model I had shown you before, or I'd shown you earlier, where you can now provide sources to that gem model, and that's kind of its RAG, right? Its storage, its expertise in terms of this is what it is going to be an expert on. These are the topics. There are websites, there are decks in there, so very similar to what you saw I did in the chat, right? For this particular chat, a lot of conversations sharing my decks, providing links, providing videos, and saying, research that, research this, help me come up with a model, and then spending a lot of time actually manually doing it, right? Because you still got to do that. You've always got to do that. So here again, very similar to the gem model, you can now provide a list of sources. Very similar to the chat model, right? So the Gemini, I'm not talking about your inbuilt in the apps. You can chat with this agent that has now become an expert in the knowledge, right? So this is key. The knowledge that is available from all the resources. You now have conversations with this chat, right? So this is now a chat here. And you clarify things. You take that knowledge, right? This list of information, just pure data. The LLMs, they have the core intelligence to say, okay, I know how to retrieve the data. What they do not have, and I'm not going to be a naysayer, they may have it someday, so we'll say what they do not have yet is the ability to understand or to extrapolate or to extract any valuable new learnings from that knowledge. They are very good at, regurgitating what other people have, as long as it's written in one of those websites. But in terms of something new, you're going to have to work with that model, with that agent, and bring them up to speed. So the last section is, again, you would have seen this very commonly in your existing tooling. How do I want to output the information? How do I want to receive it? Do I want to do deep research and get like an article that would be good for me, good as a starting point for a thesis? I'm talking about 25, 30-page documents. Create videos. Let's put that one aside. These videos are not quite where they need to be. You probably get like a 5-second video, which is great if you want an elevator pitch, but not if you want to get something bigger. Create images, or what I did here, create a canvas and get a slide set up. You would need to work multiple between these, get some nice images to include in your PowerPoint, or not PowerPoint, in this case, it's Google Slides, but in your presentation material. Deep research, you might take that deep research document and put it back in and get in. You can do guided learning before you do deep research. What do I want to do? So this is like a little bit of a mix of different outputs you can get. And I strongly encouraged in previous videos, take the output of one and input into another and get your full model. These LLMs, these web-based chat, they're not going to create the full thing for you. And even if you ask the general one to do and create the full package for you, you're giving up a lot of power there in terms of your own creativity. It's going to do it based on its own hallucinations of what's right? It will override you. But again, with NotebookLM, after you've done your research, you can go in here and generate one of these many different outputs, visualizations, if you will. So we'll take the mind map, for example, and we'll see that it's generating. It's based on 69 sources. These are all our sources. It is going to now generate a mind map based on this. Now, we can leave this one to do that work, because I did want to spend this time, or just do one at least, right? Go through, and this is what you'll see in my videos. I tend to do always is I'm going to go through it as a layperson just like you. I do not pretend to be an expert in these models. I'm an expert in mindset, so I won't use the experts. I specialize in mindsets and change management. And what I'm here to do is try to encourage you to explore and see what's available out there. So let's take a blank notebook, right? The other one I had shown you, I had previously started it. And what do we do? So first, as I said, you can add your own sources, right? So we go to add sources on the left, and you can upload files, you can upload websites, you can connect it to your Google Drive, or if for some reason you have copied or pasted text, you can paste it directly into the, so you can upload files, right? So you can go onto shared drive. You can, I don't think I had, you can go onto Google Drive if you want. You can pull it up directly from your local folders. So I tend to over index in terms of folders. So I'm going to go into one of my deeper folders, and let's see. I have a whole bunch of PDFs here that I can share, and we will pull up my framework, right? So GM squared. Let's use that deck as one of our sources. I will give it a try again, but my website seems to be broken at this moment. But let's see if we can get it. Sites. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so let's just correct this to view/mindset row. Okay, and we insert it. Now, if it can read it, it'll give a check mark. Yes. So you see right there, your source is good. I will show you my other website that seems to be broken. And you can see it'll very clearly tell you that grow.com. And you'll also see I'm going to try my blog. Doesn't always work. So mindset grow.blog.blogspot.com. All right. 2 websites, good enough. You could just paste a whole list of them. Make sure you include the beginning part of it as well. The tool needs to know whether it's a secure HTTP or not. So put the HTTPS in this format if it's a secure website. If it's not, just put HTTP, but you need to put those in there. Oh, see, there you go. Error cannot read my website, and error cannot read my blog. So you can leave them in there and it'll not use it, or you can just keep your information clean and say, remove this source or remove all failed sources, right? We can even go as far, right? And this is what is really cool, where you bring in the deep research here. Remember I was saying you could do it in a regular LLM, do deep research, and you get this 25-page long document. And then you can take that 25-page long document, paste it back into your LLM and ask it to summarize it for you. Or you could even go through that, the option of a guided learning. You take your own research document and you paste it back into the LLM and say, I need guided learning on my own documentation. And it is very valuable. You might even be learning at the same time as the LLM because the LLM doesn't know everything, but it is valuable. So here you can see, search the web or search my Google Drive. Now I've already provided the files off my Google Drive, so I'm not going to ask it to do that, but I'm going to ask for deep research. And what do I want deep research on? I'm just going to take some of the terms from my framework, such as mindset driven change management, adaptive governance models, lean value streams. And you know what? That's enough. So do deep research into these topics, and we'll see. Rather than explain it to you, I'll show you what it does. Okay, so our new one, right, the GM squared one, it says that it's completed its research. So we can view it or we can just import it. As I've said before, and I'm going to skip it here, please do view the research, but actually, no, let's do it. Let's view that research and take a look at everything and look at all the sources and, you know, cited in report, not cited, right? So look at both of them. You might say architecture in a flow of AI augmented change. What is this? This would be a very interesting article. You can pull it up, see, does it make sense to you? Read it through. Or if you want, go back to an LLM and put the link in there saying, can you summarize this page for me? Right? That's not cheating. That's just saying I could spend the time reading this page. Yeah, and I'm not a great reader, so that actually, you know what? That's probably within my capability of reading. We all have ours, but this one is probably an article I would read. But you might end up with articles that are just so long and so windy that it might be more useful or more valuable to get a bot or an LLM to do the reading for you. But let's just say I like that article. So I'm going to say, why didn't you cite it? I like it. Cite it. And you can keep going through all of the other ones. Lean portfolio management tools. Maybe we don't want tools. Case study library, Large Enterprise Institute. Why would you not include that? Right? So you just go through and you do the same thing with the cited, right? You'll be doing the opposite going, let me pick one. The first step toward culture change. Okay, that sounds good. 5 tips to achieve growth mindset. Okay. They've picked some good articles. It's going to be hard for me to find. Let's just pretend. The deliberately developmental organization. This doesn't sound too good. Remove it. Right? So we've removed that article. It is no longer part of our source. And now we import. So you give it a few seconds. This won't take as long as the deep research. And now you'll see it's starting to resemble the version I'd shown you, the other version I'd shown you. Now you need to give it some time because this bot here will need to update, right? So the expert chat will need to update its knowledge based on all these sources. These are really 2 different agents. So this agent is going to pass the information onto here, and I'm going to say, give me a quick summary of GM squared with the deep research mods or enhancements. Ta-da! And now we're going to get to see what it summarized and what it's learned. And this is where you start asking it questions or you correct it. You'll just say, oh, that particular point there, don't know if I fully agree with it. This is what it should really mean, etc., etc. Just have a conversation to chat as though you were having a conversation with a peer, right? Like another analyst or somebody doing research in a similar topic, and refine it. All right, and that is where I'm going to stop. Because as I've said, the next thing I would like to do is learn or understand how to take this. I'm now going to call it a specialized expert, right? Or a specialized bot, specialized in this particular topic that I have provided information to train on. And then we want to include it into a website.